Hi, I'm Corbie Mitleid, and welcome to Cafe Corbie. Before we get started, be sure to click the subscribe button so you never miss news from the nest. Today's special at the Card Spread Cafe is all about relocation. Career questions are some of my favorites to work with, since I used to be an executive recruiter. And very often when someone's looking at a career shift, they ask, where should I go for the best work situation? Or someone comes to me and says, we have to move for my partner's job, but at least we have a couple of cities to choose from. What do we do? That's why I've created a deep dish spread called the Relocation Question, so we can look at all angles of a common major life change. Let's take an example. Belinda, a Philadelphia native, is upper-level management with a U.S. branch of a global firm based in Kansas City, Missouri. Her husband, Randy, who's originally from Vancouver, is a narrator for audiobooks. He can take his work anywhere. He can set up a home studio while he watches their 2 children. Belinda's firm has 3 cities marked for expansion: San Bernardino, California, Houston, Texas, and Boston, Massachusetts. Her salary will be the same wherever they go. So what to do? How to mix the energies of 2 professionals with different backgrounds plus kids into a new cityscape. This spread will have 3 lines, one for each city. Within each city line, we'll look at the following energies: how the move itself will go, housing, work situation, financials, family dynamics, kids, how they will adjust, including schools, social dynamics, how the family will get along with the neighbors and the prevailing feel of the new hometown, spiritual, and the overall take on this choice. When I pull the cards, I go down instead of across, so the energy on one aspect is pulled consecutively for each place. For instance, I pull all moving cards at once, all housing cards at once, and so on. So let's see how things roll out for Belinda and Randy. We'll take the relocation question points one at a time. We'll list the city's best to worst at the end of each specific question, and then we'll tally up total points. The move. The move to San Bernardino may feel exhausting and never-ending, to the point where the effort is hard to put in to make it work. The Houston moving process, more invigorating, everything rolling out like a military exercise in the face of any obstacles. The move to Boston, happy but scattershot, with several things needing to be rechecked, but the excitement of the move keeps everybody focused. Best to worst, Houston, Boston, San Bernardino. Housing. Belinda especially will love the housing choices in the San Bernardino area. In Houston, they may need to take temporary housing that isn't the greatest while they wait for their new home to be ready, or they may decide to take a wait-and-see attitude on choosing the neighborhood. In Boston, they're likely to find their housing near one of the city's major universities, or the choice will come down to the best school system for the kids. Best to worst, San Bernardino, Boston, Houston. Work. None of the work situations are terrific, but that's why the company tapped Belinda, their expert troubleshooter, to be the fixer. In San Bernardino, the company branch is frustrated, but hasn't been willing to make the changes needed for success. Belinda's going to have to do a lot of morale boosting and personnel shuffling. In Houston, she'll have to juggle substantial layoffs and renegotiate dealer contracts. It's the branch that's in the most trouble. In Boston, there are situations that point to some white-collar theft or embezzlement that she's going to have to track down. None of these will be fun or easy, so it's a draw for work. No clear winner. Finance. San Bernardino will be solid financially, with good chances for merit bonuses. In Houston, she'll be so busy with work that she won't have time to spend the money she makes. Savings will grow. Also, Houston's less expensive to live in than either San Bernardino or Boston. Boston finances? The cost of living is a lot like Philadelphia, where Belinda grew up, so she'd be comfortable with the family's finances there. Best to worst, Houston, Boston, and San Bernardino in a tie. Family dynamics. In San Bernardino, the culture concentrates on money and status, which could cause some family upheaval. After a settlement period, however, the family regains their balance and understanding of self-worth. In Houston, there's immediate welcome from their new neighbors, friends, and classmates. The family will find themselves in a very happy social circle. In Boston, both parents and kids will bring home friends and colleagues to make their new house a happy, buzzing social center. Best to worst, Boston and Houston tied, San Bernardino. Kids. In San Bernardino, Dad will be the one to help them adjust to their new surroundings. Both sports and spirituality will introduce the children to a new group of friends. In Houston, religion will be what matters. Families with strong beliefs will make up the core of the kids' friends. The kids need to expand their views if friends hold different values than they do. In Boston, the children will be slower to make friends until they know the territory, but being choosy about their new mates will result in lifelong best friends. Best to worst, San Bernardino, Boston, Houston. Social dynamics. San Bernardino is a place where the one who does or has the most wins. The importance of possessions and position may be hard on a family built on equality. Houston will have a sharp contrast to any place they've ever lived. Vastly different values, belief systems, and politics will all have to be dealt with and adjusted to. Boston is a city that values intellect more than anything else, and education, world involvement, and a liberal slant will be front and center in all of their dealings. Because of the parents' birthplaces, Philadelphia and Vancouver, best to worst, Boston, San Bernardino, Houston. Spiritual. In San Bernardino, they'll need to keep their emotional balance by staying in the present while focusing on the future they want to create. Houston's differences will have them questioning their own beliefs and determining what is of true value. Boston will encourage spiritual growth through study and meditation. None of these are a standout, as spiritual needs are for the individual to decide on and rank. So no specific ranking is appropriate for this question. Outcome. San Bernardino will be likely a short-lived stay, no more than 4 years, as Belinda's ability to make changes will only be incremental. Houston's situation will have her questioning her place in the company and in that sector of employment. She may leave the company entirely after this assignment. Boston will give Belinda a sense of being part of something larger, and a support system will make this a happy place to live. Best to worst, Boston, San Bernardino, then Houston. So how do we figure things out? First, let's assign point values, giving 3 points for first place, 2 for second, and 1 for third. The best possible score is 27. Done that way, the rankings are San Bernardino, 16 out of 27, Houston, 15 out of 27, and Boston, 19 out of 27. So for this relocation question, there isn't a real winner here. While Boston leads San Bernardino and Houston, it's not by a lot. There are going to be challenges anywhere they go. In this case, I handed the session recording to Belinda and suggested that she share it with her husband so they could make an informed decision together. Does that surprise you? It shouldn't. This is a perfect example of why a psychic won't always have a clear-cut answer for the client. And everyone has to be okay with that. When the question is one with a wide range of possibilities and several people being affected, it's important to show all the parameters, rather than just say A is good, B is marginal, C is awful. So, when someone asks about a move that will affect an entire family, I make sure they see all the ramifications with this thorough and informative relocation spread. That's it for today at Cafe Corbie. Special thanks to our Patreon patrons who support and enable us to bring you all these videos. Frankie Wood, Amy Bush, Shannon Hayes, and Robin McAleer. Be sure to visit us on Facebook at Fire Through Spirit or join us on Patreon for exclusive content and to be part of the flock. We'll see you again soon.